What up, what up, what up, Finn fans? Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I am your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. You know what it is. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday. Thank God it's Friday. How's everybody doing out there today? How's everybody doing out there today? Do people still get excited because when it's Friday? Do people still get excited over that? I know when I was a kid and a teenager and in school and stuff, you used to get excited about Fridays. What's going on? B Show 58. What's going on? Thanks for stopping in. Oh yeah, do people still get excited because it's Friday? I mean, I never had a job where I worked Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 4. So I never got excited about Friday as far as work, but in school I did. I'm just curious if people still, and I'm not a club person anymore. I don't go to the bar really. So the weekend doesn't overly matter to me like that. Do other people get excited for the weekend? I mean, I get excited for when in football season because obviously, Sunday football. So, I mean, I guess I look forward to Fridays during the football season. But other than that, I could really care less if it was a Tuesday. I mean, to be honest, just curious, just shooting it out there. Today's show, we're going to discuss free agents, our upcoming free agents, whether we should re-sign or let them walk out that door. Obviously, we got limited cap room as of right now. I believe Chris Grier is going to work some magic. Good morning, Bonnie. Happy Friday to you. I believe Chris Grier is going to make it work some magic. It's going to hurt us in the future because whatever cap space he makes available, it's just pushing contracts down the road. It's making contracts more expensive in the future. But again, Chris Grier, Mike McDaniel aren't concerned with the future. They're concerned with this year. They're concerned with this year only. They're not worried about the future because if they don't make it work this year, they're not going to be here for the future. So what do they care about the future? So I think Chris Grier is going to find a ton of cap space. He's gonna do some kind of crazy thing with Tua's contract, which is going to make it more expensive for Tua in the future. So when we release Tua in the future, we're going to owe him that much more money. He's just going to do a lot of stuff that a new GM, a fresh set of eyes, someone that was preparing to build something here. Someone that was a new GM, say we hired a new GM right now. He's not going to create all that space. He's going to work with what we got. Is he going to try to make a little wiggle room for us? Sure. Chris Grier's he's going to mortgage our future to the fullest this year. He's going to mortgage everything into the future. So we're going to end up paying Tua pennies on the dollars this year, but every year after this year, Tua's going to get paid more money. Tua's going to get more money every year. So if Tua's scheduled to make 55 next year, it'll be 62. If the year after that it's 60, it'll be 67. You see what I mean? So when we go to release Tua, because I think that's inevitably what has to happen. And this has nothing to do with his play on the field. Again, nothing to do with his play on the field. It's strictly because you can't rely on someone that's unreliable. This isn't a discussion whether Tua's good enough or Tua can get the job done. This is strictly a discussion about whether Tua can be available for this franchise, and we can't trust him to be available. So, like, he's going to do that with Tua. I'm sure he's going to do that with other players. He's going to create plenty of cap space so we can go out and make a splash in free agency. But right now, we're going to look at our upcoming free agents, whether we should bring them back or we should let them walk. And then we're going to look at a couple other free agents that could plug the holes that we have and make this team that much better. There's people available in this free agency that we could plug and play immediately, and this team would be leaps and bounds better. Leaps and bounds better than what we were last year. Now think about what we were last year. We were a team fighting for a playoff berth the whole year. The whole year. That's with Tua Tagovailoa missing 6 games. That's without much of a pass rush the whole season. That's with one of the worst offensive lines in all of football. We were still pushing for a playoff berth. With all that happened to us last year, with an injured Tyreek Hill, a broken wrist the whole season, with an undersized running back, and that's all we had is an undersized running back because we didn't really use Jalen Wright. Mostert dealt with a bunch of injuries last year. Our safeties were invisible. We had an aging defensive tackle that he played great for us, but his snaps were limited. No pass rush. A shoddy offensive line, and Tua missed 6 games. And we were still fighting for a playoff berth. So you can't tell me if Tua's healthy, we fix the offensive line, we get some safeties back there that are actually capable of doing their job or want to do their job, and we add some pieces here or there, and we go and get some good players in the draft. You can't tell me this team can't compete for the division. They can't compete for a playoff spot. It can't and then they can't be good enough to win a playoff game. I mean, I'm just not going to allow someone to talk me into that because what I see, I'm going to trust my eyes more than anything. Now, people that want to fill their narrative and they just want Tua gone or they just want Chris Grier, Mike McDaniel gone, they're gonna try to lead you to believe that there's no hope, there's no chance. But you've seen what we've put on the field, and people can say we haven't beat the good teams. We can't win in cold weather, and I can't argue against that because we don't do it. I can't argue against that. But my argument is this: what do all these good teams have in common? What do the good teams in the NFL have in common? They're tough in the trenches. Where's the Miami Dolphins weakest? In the trenches. So you can't tell me if we don't improve this offense, if we improve this offensive line, that we're not going to be more formidable against those good teams. Again, how do you win in cold weather? How do you win the cold weather games? You run the football. You stop the run. So again, if we improve the offensive line, that improves the running game. We'll be capable of winning games in cold weather. And not to mention, have we came up short in these cold weather games? Have we came up short against some of the good teams in the NFL? Absolutely. But don't forget that there's multiple games we almost beat the Bills. The same Buffalo Bills that were in the AFC Championship game last week. There's games that we were in, that we had a chance to win. We just couldn't pull it off. We did win in Cleveland, although it wasn't really that cold and Cleveland sucks, but we still, yeah, I mean, you're right, Bonnie. You're right. We beat Cleveland in Cleveland. We were just so much better than them. So, that argument, you bring Cleveland up to the people that are bringing up the fact that we can't win we can't win in cold weather and we can't win against good teams. They're gonna say, "Well, it was only Cleveland." You know how it is. What's gonna be said. They're always gonna have some kind of excuse. But we did go into Buffalo 2 years ago in the middle of a snowstorm when the fans were throwing snowballs at our players every time they went in the end zone and tried to catch a pass, and we almost beat the Buffalo Bills that night. We almost beat the Buffalo Bills last year if it wasn't for a Jordan Poyer personal foul that put them in field goal range. We almost beat Buffalo in the playoffs with a backup quarterback. So we're closer to winning these games in cold weather. We're closer to winning these games against good teams than people would like to make you think we are. And I truly believe with a top 10, a top 12 offensive line, this offense can get back to being a top 10 offense, a top 5 offense. But more importantly, this offense, even though this offense might not be number one like the offense was last year, I think this offense will be more efficient because Mike McDaniel, people can criticize Mike McDaniel, and I'm the first one in line to criticize some of the coaching choices he makes. One thing Mike McDaniel did do last year is he was committed to trying to run the ball. He really was. More so than he had been the prior 2 years. He actually tried to run the ball and stuck with it. Another thing that makes us more efficient than in prior years is Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is a very reliable tight end. It's like an extension of the running game. The screen game with the tight end. So I think maybe we don't have as many yards, maybe we don't have as many touchdowns, but I think we can be a more efficient offense and still be a top 10 offense. Bonnie says we are so close to beating Buffalo. Why do we do better against them in Buffalo than we do in Miami, at least in the recent past? I think there's more pressure on the Dolphins when they're in Miami. They feel the pressure. They have to beat Buffalo. Maybe. I don't have an answer for that, Bonnie. I can't really say. You would think that we'd have a better chance of beating Buffalo in Miami, but we have done fairly well against Buffalo in Buffalo. Even in that snow game where they were chucking ice balls at our players, which was absolutely ridiculous. All these Bills fans crying and bitching about, oh, we got that 4th down play against the Chiefs. We're boycotting the NFL. What about when you guys were throwing snowballs at our players every time they tried to catch a pass? Like, literally, if you go back and watch that game, every time a ball was thrown to a Dolphin player, here comes 20 snowballs too. Our guys couldn't even sit on the bench without getting belted with ice balls. So much so that the referee had to end up issuing a warning to the fans. So, I mean, if we make a couple moves this year, we can be right in the thick of things. But again, and you're going to hear me say this over and over and over because it's the biggest thing in all of this. It all depends on Tua Tagovailoa staying healthy. Yeah, improving the backup quarterback position will help. If we can get a competent backup quarterback, that will help. But again, if that's going to do us no good if Tua's out 8 games, 10 games, the season. Backup quarterback's not going to do us no good. Backup quarterback's only going to benefit us if Tua's only got to miss 2-3 games where we can plug in a backup quarterback and he's just got to go out and maybe get us 1 win, 2 wins out of 4 games. Backup quarterback's only going to help this team if we need that backup quarterback to go 500. We can't expect a backup quarterback to come in and take us to the playoffs. So it still depends on Tua staying healthy. Everything is on the line. Everything that matters for the Miami Dolphins relies on Tua Tagovailoa staying healthy. So let's get into the free agents. Let's start at the top. The biggest one. You got Javon Holland at safety. Javon Holland came out of Oregon. He was an absolute monster, 2nd round pick. I thought Greer hit a home run with this one. I really did. Javon Holland, the snowman, man, he was one of my favorite players his first 2 years in the league. He really was. He became one of my favorite players so quickly because he had a nose for the ball. He was a playmaker. He wasn't afraid to stick his nose in there and do the dirty work. I absolutely loved Javon Holland his first 2 years. Good morning, Raphael. Yeah, hit that like button. Tua arm needs some steroids. Colts every reportedly signed veteran quarterbacks knowing AR-15 gets hurt. Yeah, you're right. Tua's arm strength, and I think the hip had been bothering him longer than he let on. Because all that power, your throwing power comes a lot from the hips, more so than your arm. It comes from the hips, especially with an undersized quarterback like Tua. Definitely. So I think his hip had been bothering him longer than he let on. But again, a lot of our big plays, they're not 60-yard bombs. I mean, we've seen that Tua can complete good enough passes down the field. Has Tyreek had to slow down for a couple of them? Yeah. Has he missed Tyreek on a couple? Yeah. But shoot, 2 years ago, you can't lie. That offense was moving, and we looked damn good doing it. So I mean, we can complain about the things that we've been complaining about, but again, that's not going to help Tua's arm strength improve. But we have seen this offense with Tua's arm being weak, not one of the stronger arms in the NFL. We've seen this offense be a number 1 offense in the NFL. So there's no use sitting there harping on Tua's arm strength or this or that. Tua has proven he can lead a number 1 offense in the NFL. So I mean, the arm's good enough for me. Would everybody like someone like Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes with a rocket? Yeah, absolutely. But it's good enough to win with, and we can go out there and we can win games with Tua's arm. But back to Javon Holland, man. Like I said, he was one of my favorite players in the league his first 2 years. This year though, he just, it was like he failed to stick his nose in and make a tackle. He failed to try to be physical. I don't know if he was trying to make a business decision, knowing that he was becoming a free agent and that he didn't want to hurt himself, because he has been hurt the last few years. He had the bad knees he hurt his knees against the Jets and missed a bunch of games. But last year he just wasn't willing to. He wasn't he wasn't that same dog that he had been in years prior. He was only okay in coverage. His stats reflect that. His stats reflect how much of a downfall he's had. But more so than anything, it's the eye test. If you're like me and you watched every Dolphins game, you can see when Javon Holland wasn't seeking out the ball carrier. You could see when Javon Holland let up and didn't make the hit when he could. You could see when Javon Holland was getting blocked out of a play by someone that had no business taking Javon out to play. You've seen it. It's right there on tape. Go back and watch. Now, again, was he making business decisions so he could get the free agency healthy? Who knows? But again, I don't want that type of player on my team regardless. I don't want that. I can understand wanting to get your money and get the most money you can get. This is your first real payday. But still in all, you got to play football, brother. You got to play. You can't let your team down. If you're willing to let your team down, man. Raphael says Tua did well the solo year healthy. Tua experienced sophomore slump after 1 year of solid play. I don't know. I don't think it was he sophomore slump after 1 year of solid play. I think he wasn't healthy. I think he wasn't healthy last year. I think that hip injury happened earlier in the season and then it just progressed. Bonnie says Holland needs to go. I'm sure he'll do great somewhere else, but it won't be or shouldn't be in Miami. Holland is not a dog. I agree, Bonnie. Holland is not a dog. He doesn't have that dog mentality. I think when Vic Fangio left, I think a lot of his comments about being soft and this and that were directed at Javon Holland. But see, we still have Chris Grier here, and you can't trust Chris Grier. So Chris Grier might go out and he might throw $20 million a year at Javon Holland because he thinks that's the right thing to do. So we're not out the woods with Chris Grier making mistakes and costing this team. How big of a mistake would it be to go and give Javon Holland $20 million a year? Raphael says, I don't want to see another drafted player with another team ball out, AVG, etc. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I don't want to see that neither, Raphael. But look how much money Christian Wilkins got paid, and then he played half the season last year. For every player that does that, there's other players that go somewhere else and don't do nothing. So it's hit or miss. You know what I mean? Javon Holland hasn't shown me enough that we can go out there and give him the type of money that he wants. Can't commit long term. You're absolutely right, B-Show 58. You're absolutely right. We can't go. He's going to want a 4-year contract, 19, 20 million a year. We can't go give him $98 million. We can't go give him a $100 million contract. B-Show 58 said the only thing we can do is tag him for 1 year at 17. Is he worth 17 though? Is he worth 17? Because I got a couple of guys that we can sign for probably 17 total. And we'll get into that in a little bit. So we're going to get into that. So if Holland is only asking for 12 to 15, sure. If he wants 12, 13, 14 million a year, all right, bring him back. Bring him back. Hopefully he can get back to that year 1, year 2, because he's still so young. He's only 25. If he wants 12, 13, 14 million a year, cool. But anything over 15, I say we let him walk. I say we got to let him walk anything over 15. If you think we should let him walk, put a W in the comments. If you think we should keep him, put a K. K for keep, W for walk. We're going to do this with everybody. Javon Holland, K for keep, W for walk. True Blazer, what's up, brother? If he ain't a dog, put him up for adoption. I like that. I like that. So Bonnie says W. Raphael says keep. B Show 58 says W, but possibly K. Raphael, what's too much money? Cartwright gang. What's too much money, though? How much money would you keep Javon Holland up to? I can't believe, Raphael, I can't believe you'd want to keep him at 20 million. Next free agent, Calais Campbell. I don't know a Dolphin fan out there that wouldn't aim not overpaying, dude, but market pay. I mean, the top safeties in the league, I mean, Budda Baker makes 18. You know that, you know how these players think. They always want to jump over. They always want to jump over the top paid safeties. When their time comes, they want to become the new top safety. And Javon Holland is not in Budda Baker's class. He is not a Budda Baker player. Budda Baker is a beast. Budda Baker is a beast. But Calais Campbell, I don't know a Dolphin fan that wouldn't want to keep Calais. Defensive tackle. He limited snaps because of his age. Man, this guy's a monster. He really did a great job for us. Him and Zach Sealer in the middle. He's 6'8", 282 pounds. Last year, he had 52 tackles, 5 sacks, 12 tackles for a loss, 1 forced fumble. He was an absolute animal for us. I would Chris Grier needs to be begging this guy to come back. Is Calais even going to play this year? I don't know. Does Calais want to play one more year? I don't know. And if Calais does he want to play in Miami? Does he want to stay in Miami, or does he want to try to go and get to a team that has a better chance at a Super Bowl? Like the Chiefs, the Bills, the Lions, the Eagles. I mean, Calais went to college in Miami. I think he had some faith in this team because he could have been released last year. He could have been released at the end of the year, but he stuck it out in hopes that we could make the playoffs. Again, Miami's home for him. Please, I beg and plead that we can bring Calais back. And it's on the cheap, too. We're talking like 1 year, $3 million. Man, what a bargain that is. What a absolute piece that is. That'd be so great for this team. B Show says, hopefully some dogs we sign, one Will Fries, right guard, and Dre Greenlaw, linebacker. We're gonna get into that, B Show. We're gonna get into it. We just going through our free agents, and we're gonna look at a couple that I would like to bring in. Bonnie says, although I could see Grier having PTSD from letting the Grink go and overpaying Holland. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Again, Calais Campbell. W's for walk, K for keep. I'm pretty sure our boy's gonna put the K's up for this one. 1 year, $3 million. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. He's a locker room guy. He's a great presence around this team. He's a veteran. He's a dog. He's exactly the type of players that we need on this football team. K for keep, W for walk. Calais Campbell. Next on the list, Kader Kohou. Now, this one's a tough one. This is probably the toughest one I had. Kader had a good rookie year. And then his sophomore year, he got cooked a lot. I remember the game in Buffalo. Stephon Diggs just ate his lunch a million times over. Kader Kohou really struggled in year 2. Last year, he had a resurgence. He wasn't forced to play outside. He was more the nickel in the slot corner, and he played pretty good. He's got good coverage skills. He was ranked high in all PFF last year. Quarterbacks only completed 65% of their passes against him. He gave up 335 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 3 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and allowed a quarterback ranking of 76 against him. Kader Kohou, I don't think is gonna break the bank to bring him back. This one was tough for me. It really was. Kader Kohou was really tough for me. I'm gonna say let him walk. Now, was Kader good in coverage? Yes, he was. He was good in coverage. But he's a terrible tackler. He's absolutely horrid at tackling. He can't tackle. He couldn't tackle your grandmother walking home with a bag full of groceries. He's not a dog. He's a soft player. He's soft. He's soft. And I just think in that slot position, you got to be out of the slot position. A lot of times they're shallower routes. You got to get up. You gotta be able to bully your receiver a little bit. You got to make the quick tackle because lots of times they're quick passes coming out the slot. You got to be able to help out in the run game because you're the corner that's closest to the line of scrimmage. And he can't do that for us. He can't do that for us. So even though he's solid in coverage, the fact that he is so terrible when it comes to helping stop the run, making the tackle after the catch, I just feel you got to let him go. I really do. I feel like you got to let Kader Kohou go. I think there's probably better options that we can bring in. I know it was a tough decision, the toughest on this list for me. I went back and forth on it, but again, we have too many finesse players. We have too many players that are not dogs, like Tyreek said. And that's another position that I feel like you got to kind of be a dog at. The slot corner position, you got to be more of a dog. You're dealing with tight ends more. You're dealing with bigger receivers more. You got to help out in the run game, and he's just not that capable of doing that. And he's not good enough to play the outside corner position. So I say you let Kader Kohou walk. What do y'all say on that? Keep. K for keep. W for let walk. Kader is our best tackler. Raphael. Kader is our best tackler. Kader's probably our worst tackler in this. Bonnie says keep. Raphael says keep. Like I said, in the slot corner is a different position. Raphael, he is definitely not our best tackler, brother. He is definitely not our best tackler. Not even close. He's our worst tackler in the secondary. I mean, as far as starters go, I can't say Cam Smith or you know what I mean. But as far as starters go, Kader's our worst tackling corner. And this is cool. Difference opinions. You know what I mean? I was on the fence. I was close to saying keep Cater because of his coverage skills, but I just feel like that's a position that you can add someone. That's a position that you need someone to come in and tackle. You got to be able to tackle. Next on the list, this is another no-brainer for me, but he's a free agent, so he's on the list. Liam Eichenberg. I will pack this guy's bags myself. I'm not even going to discuss stats. I'm not going to discuss anything. You've seen what this guy has done over his course here. Liam Eichenberg. Goodbye. I'm letting Liam Eichenberg walk out the door. The only beneficial thing to Liam Eichenberg is that he can play multiple positions on the offensive line, but there's guys out there that can play multiple positions on the offensive line that are actually decent. Liam Eichenberg, I'm packing his bags for him. W for walk, K for keep. Liam Eichenberg. Walk, 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 walk. Liam Eichenberg. Again, you can't trust Chris Grier, though. That's one of Chris Grier's boys. Next on my list is Terrell Dotson, linebacker. Listen, he was only here for 5 games. We had signed him after he was released from Seattle. But this guy is a good linebacker. Very good in coverage, got great speed. He was here for 5 games. He had 3 starts. He had 36 tackles. But where he really helped us at is in coverage. Him and Jordan Brooks are great cover linebackers. He had 4 pass breakups, 3 interceptions in 5 games. He's got very good speed. He had an 85.6 coverage grade. 85.6 coverage grade. And he's gonna be pretty affordable. Bonnie says, I like Dotson. He's a dog, a keeper for sure. Yeah, Terrell Dotson, he is a very good linebacker, especially in the middle with able to. Raphael says, let number 74 walk. Yes, sir. He's not going to cost us an arm and a leg neither. I think we could get Terrell Dotson back on a 2-year, $9 million deal, 2-year, maybe maxed out at 2 years, $11 million. So that's not too bad. So we're looking at 4.5 to 5.5 million a year. That's pretty good for the ability he brings to you. To be able to cover tight ends out the backfield, to be able to cover running backs out the backfield at such a high rate. 85.6 rating, 3 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, and only 3 starts. He's a great player for us, especially at that price. Raphael says, Dotson, I'm on the border. What don't you like about his game, Raphael? You just wanted to bring Cater back because, I mean, Terrell Dotson's one of the best cover linebackers in all of football. K for keep, W for walk. Terrell Dotson. Like I said, 4.5 to 5.5 million a year. That's a good number on him. That's a good number. I like it. You need to find these guys that are good football players, very good football players that can help your team out, and they're not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share, please, and thank you. It helps the channel greatly. Also, if you're over on the Game Changers, if you're watching this on Game Changers channel, please go over to the Fin Posse podcast channel and watch from over there, like over there, comment over there, because I'm eventually going to stop broadcasting this to the Game Changers channel. I'm not sure when, but soon you're not going to be able to see this show Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. You're only going to be able to see it on the Finn Posse because I gotta accumulate the views all on one channel just so it helps me hopefully hit the algorithm at some point. So please, if you're over on the Game Changers, click over to the Finn Posse real quick, subscribe to that channel, and that's where you'll get all your Miami Dolphins news. The Game Changers channel is going to be strictly for the NFL as a whole, and what other shows we end up planning on having there. But this channel right here is for the Miami Dolphins Finn Posse podcast. So please like, subscribe, comment, and share. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Next on the list is Robert Jones, left guard. Man, this is another one I got to let walk. Robert Jones he's better than Eichenberg in my opinion, but still he's still not good enough. Still not good enough. He's not a good pass blocker. He's not a good run blocker. Man, we need to move on from these guys that we've been keeping around for a long time. We got to stop keeping these guys around that have no business being here. There's better options. There is better options. Robert Jones, I got to let you go, brother. Again, the eye test says it all. You've seen how this offensive line played last year. It's just not good enough. Robert Jones, K for keep, W for walk. K for keep, W for walk. Robert Jones. If they did re-sign him, it wasn't for more than a year or two. He's a free agent. Raphael says, I like Robert Jones for depth. Keep. Man, I just feel like there's better options out there. And one's coming up very soon in our upcoming free agents. Next on the list, Jordan Poyer. Jordan freaking Poyer. Man, did we even sign him or did we just borrow him from the Bills? Did we even sign him or we just borrow him from the Bills? I mean, Jordan Poyer had 98 tackles. He had 98 tackles last year, which seems like a high number and seems like it's decent, but Jordan Poyer was absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. He got cooked in so many games, cost us so many games. He single-handedly cost us the Buffalo Bills game. I don't care what anybody says. He cost us that game. That personal foul on that hit on the rookie receiver from Buffalo was unnecessary. He's just been absolutely terrible. He had no interceptions. He can't keep up with anybody. True Blazer says he was collecting his 401k. He was collecting something. Jordan Poyer, he's out the goddamn door. He's one of them guys that I'll pack his bags for him. He needs that is one of the worst free agent signings in the Chris Grier era, in my opinion. One of the worst signings in the Chris Grier era. I wish we would have just brought Deshaun Elliott back. We let him go over to Pittsburgh. People say Brandon Jones, but Brandon Jones didn't play like he played for the Broncos this year. He didn't play like that for us. Brandon Jones was an anomaly. Denver just used him right, I guess. Brandon Jones is a good tackler. He's more of a linebacker safety than he is one of those center field safeties. But I would have rather kept Brandon Jones too. The only thing with Brandon Jones is he was hurting too many of our own players. Jordan Poyer, walk or keep? W or K? I think I know the answer to that question too, but we're gonna ask it. We're gonna ask it. Jordan Poyer, W walk, K for keep. Jordan Poyer. That leaves us Emmanuel Akba, defensive end. We ended up bringing him back late last year. I think he had a decent year. We didn't have much of a pass rush last year. We didn't. Jalen Phillips wasn't 100% when he did play. We know Bradley Chubb never came back last year. Chop was super raw at the beginning of the season. Akba was at the beginning of the season. Akba was our only real pass rusher. I mean, you had Zach Sealer and Calais bringing pressure from up the middle, but on the edge, Akba was the only pressure we were getting. He had 49 tackles, 5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. He was the only thing that we had last year at the beginning of the year. He was the only thing we had. I'd like to see Akba come back on a depth. I think if we can redo Bradley Chubb's contract, Jalen Phillips can come back healthy. Chop Robinson can continue the build on what he did at the end of the season. I think we could have a great pass rush next year. I think that's what really gets me excited because we had a stat-wise, we had a top 10 to 12 defense. Stats-wise, we had a top 10 to 12 defense last year. And that's with very limited pass rush. And again, that's with Jordan Poyer and Javon Holland. Jordan Poyer being terrible. Javon Holland, who knows what's been wrong with him the last couple of years, as safety. Imagine if we bring in 2 safeties and we get our pass rush back. Imagine what Anthony Weaver can do with this defense. You get Terrell Dotson for a whole season. Jordan Brooks has another year in the system. If God could please let us get Calais back, this defense could be nice. This defense could be really good. So I'm excited about what Anthony Weaver can do with this defense if we can bring these guys back. And I think Emmanuel Akba would be a nice piece. I mean, he's undersized to play inside, but I mean, I think you could get away with playing him inside. Maybe you get away with playing Akba inside. I mean, he's 6'4", 278. Tell him to put on 10 pounds. Tell him to put on 10, 15 pounds. But I think we can get Akba back here in the door for 2 years, $7 million, $3.5 million a year. I'd bring him back for depth at that price. Absolutely. Raphael says Chop started getting sacks at the end of the year versus bad teams. I mean, Chop was getting there, but he kept falling. I believe Chop will get the sacks. And Raphael, you have to understand that we had nobody else rushing the passer or the quarterback like that. So they got the worry about Chop. They got to put their protections towards Chop Robinson. If you got Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb out there also, you can't always run your protection towards Chop. So I think Chop's going to have an even better sophomore year. I really do. And the thing about Chop is there's multiple reports that he was staying after practice, working extra hard, picking Teron Armstead's brain about what he should do against tackles and what moves he should make and what moves are effective. So the kid wants to work. I think Chop Robinson can be a dog for this team. I really do. I like Chop Robinson. I wasn't too high on the pick last year because I felt like our team needed to go offensive line in the draft, and we ended up taking an outside linebacker. I really wanted us to go offensive line last year, but I like the Chop Robinson pick. I think he's gonna be a good football player for us. I think he's gonna be leaps and bounds better than what Jalen Phillips was for us. Leaps and bounds. Chop he keep that motor going a full season without getting a flat tire. I like that. I like that. How you doing today, Lofi Anna NFT? I hope I said that right. Please, I hope all you guys are subscribed. I hope you guys are all subscribed. I've seen a couple new names in here. I like to see it. Please, again, if you're going to subscribe to both channels, but make sure you're on the Finn Posse podcast if you want your Dolphin news, because eventually that's the only place I'm going to be posting it is on the Finn Posse podcast. But I appreciate everybody in here. Thank you so much. What do you guys think about Akpa? You bringing him back or you letting him walk? K for keep, W for walk. And yeah, I think Chop can do phenomenal things. I think Chop's going to be way better than Jalen Phillips. I really do. Jalen Phillips has been a letdown to me. I can't help but feel that way. When you take someone in the first round and through the first 4 years of your career, you haven't had more than 7-8 sacks in a season, like that's not good enough. It's not good enough. Said trade Holland after last year, now saying Jalen on the trade block this year, his post draft for 2026. Yeah, the only problem with that is because he's been injured last 2 years. People are going to want to see that he can do something. You know what I mean? But I like the smoke up. I like Akpa, but I think Dolphins let him walk. Keep. Yeah, I mean, maybe they do let him walk. I mean, they was going to let him walk last year until what's his face ended up retiring on us last second. What the hell's his name now? It's slipping my mind. The guy from Tampa Bay. But yeah, I think he's nice depth. I'd keep him. I'd definitely keep him. Next on the list is Benito Jones, defensive tackle, 6'1", 335 pounds. He's a big body. He did decent in the running game last year. He had 24 tackles, 4 tackles for loss. He was the third person in a 3-man rotation with Sealer and Campbell in the middle. I think he did an all right job. You can bring him back cheap. 1 year, $3 million. He's not a needle mover, but he's someone that can get in there and give your main guys a rest. So I'd bring Benito Jones back. He's going to be cheap, 1 year, $3 million. You don't want to create too many holes for your team that you got to fill. You don't want to get too many new people in, but I'd bring Benito Jones back. He did a serviceable job. Benito Jones, you bring him back. K for keep, W for walk. What do you think, Benito Jones? He's just a sub D tackle. Just a sub D tackle. Benito Jones, you let him walk or you keep him? Raphael, what you smoking on, brother? What you smoking on? You got that fire stuff? Jones, if you have to and can't upgrade. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to upgrade everybody on the team. That's why I say, I mean, he's just a plug and play guy. He played more snaps than probably he should have just because Calais Campbell's snaps were limited. I mean, if we bring in someone and Calais doesn't come back, Jones is going to get even less snaps. So I'm definitely all right with it. I mean, if an injury pops up, I'd make a move. I wouldn't rely on Jones to be a full-time starter, but just to fill in, give people a breath. You know what I mean? Bonnie says that's a hard one. I'll say keep for now. Next on the list, Isaiah Wynn. Guard. Listen, Isaiah Wynn last year when he finally got back, he played decent football. Our offensive line definitely started to play a little bit better when Isaiah Wynn was in the game. 31% Uncle X brand strain facade number 2. Walk on B Jones, defensive tackle. I got a bunch of Wizard Tree flavors right now. People are loving. Look up Wizard Tree, Raphael. I got a bunch of them. I got like 12 different Wizard Trees right now. I got Black Magic, Zoza. What's another one that I got? Wizzy. I got a bunch. When tired of these broken players. Yeah, I get you. I got you. But I think Isaiah Wynn is one of them players that you don't rely on him to be a starter. He's one of them guys, like he said, bring Brandon Jones back for depth. I think you bring Isaiah Wynn back for depth. Isaiah Wynn can play at left tackle. He can play at right tackle. He can play at both guard positions. And I think Isaiah Wynn's leaps and bounds better than Robert Jones and Liam Eichenberg. That's just my opinion. So I would bring Isaiah Wynn back. Again, another 1 year, $3 million deal. He knows Mike McDaniel's system. He's done fabulous in it. I like Isaiah Wynn to come back. Greer built an excuse is only we was healthy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Raphael, I be having that fire up here, kid. I be having that fire up here, my guy. Agree. Bring him back for depth. Yeah, I think 1 year, $3 million. He can play at any position on the offensive line, and he didn't do half bad starting last year. I don't know what the problem. I don't know what it was about him and Eichenberg going in and out series for series. I didn't like that at all. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. But Isaiah Wynn can be serviceable. And the year before last, he played pretty good for us too. The year where we had a top 5 rushing attack, the year where we had a top 10 offense, top number 1 offense, Isaiah Wynn played. And Isaiah Wynn played good for us. So I'd definitely bring Isaiah Wynn back. Isaiah Wynn, let him walk or keep him. K for keep, W for walk. Now it's time to talk about a few free agents that I think we can bring in. I think that some will be expensive. Some I think we can get at decent deals. Some are going to be a little expensive, and some we can get at a decent deal. But again, I think Chris Grier is going to open up a lot of cap space. Raphael says he's got 28 grams for like $91 at the dispensary yesterday. Yeah, the Wizard Tree I got, that's going 200 a zip up here right now. But that's what they call designer bud up here, rapper weed. Like my guy goes out to California and he shops at, like he goes into the places that they grow, and like he's had multiple pictures taken with like Wiz Khalifa, Snoop Dogg, because they go in there and they pick their plants while they're growing. So there's multiple pictures. He's picking them. He's looking at these plants from babies, and they go through different stages of growth. But the Wizard Tree, yeah, we got I got for 200 a zip right now. And then I got other Top Shelf, which is indoor, which is Firebud. I got some other stuff that I'm selling. Well, it's 80 a zip. It's 80 a zip. So I get a pretty good price on that. Wynn's another guy if you have to. the better of the bad. He grades out terrible in the pass sets. Yeah, but he looks better. See, sometimes the PFF, you got to be, the football grades, you got to be careful with sometimes because they could grade really low, but in reality, they're not as bad as what these grades are giving them. Like Patrick Paul. Patrick Paul graded out horrible yesterday or last year. Horrible. But you didn't see him giving up a bunch of sacks. You didn't see him give up a bunch of pressures. So was he that horrible? Isaiah Wynn, I've seen the running game improve when he was in the game last year. So you just gotta be careful. Raphael says, nice. I like Nevada bud instead of Cali weed. These are some players that I feel we can bring in. There's one, I can't say his damn name, and I'm not even gonna try. The safety from the San Francisco 49ers. Anybody know how to say his name? The safety for the San Francisco 49ers. Safety San Francisco 49ers. He's another one of those Tungans. I think he'd be a nice player for us. There's his name in the chat. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Tala Noah Hu Fung. Yeah. He played his college ball at USC. He's a pretty good player. I wouldn't mind us bringing him in. Obviously Javon Holland's ranked the highest on the list, but I think, like, again, Javon Holland hasn't been good for us. But this kid from San Francisco, he was a 5th round draft pick in 2021. He kind of struggled last year, but he's a willing tackler. He grades out at 80 on run defense. He struggled a little bit in coverage this year, but I believe that was because of injuries. I wouldn't mind bringing him in. I think he'd be a nice fit, but he'd probably be a little expensive too. You got Justin Reed for the San Francisco 49ers, or for the Kansas City Chiefs. Justin Reed's a very good player. Justin Reed's a really good player. Holland was a good guy to trade after last year. We already knew he was going to be expensive even on a down year. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right about that. I feel like we should have traded Holland too. He was probably going to be hard to trade because of those knee injuries he had at the end of last year, but I would have loved to have seen him. I would have loved to have seen him go. I wish we would have traded for Budda Baker. If we were going to pay a safety, Budda Baker was you trade for Budda Baker because he's an absolute monster. Budda Baker is an absolute monster. If you watched him against the Dolphins this year, he was all over the field making all types of plays in the passing game, in the running game. He was just a beast. Justin Reed, I really like him, but he's going to be another one that's expensive. He's one of the better run defending safeties in the NFL. I think Kansas City is willing to move on from him. Kansas City, the good teams in the NFL know when to move on from players. Like Lofi right now is saying we should have moved on. The good teams in the NFL know how to move on from players. They don't fall in love. They don't sign you for things that you've done in the past. They sign you for what you can do for in the future. Raphael, what about Justin Simmons last year? Justin Simmons this year. I was just about to get to Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons this year. We talked about bringing Javon Holland back at 16, 17 million. You can go get Justin Simmons to fill one of those safety spots for 6, 7 million this year. He's a free agent again this year. He played great for Atlanta last year. I would love to bring Justin Simmons in. Another one I'd like to see brought in, he's a young guy, is Trayvon Moehrig from the Raiders. He's young. He's 25. He's had 5 interceptions and 18 passes defended over the past 2 years. He's got plenty of room to grow. He's had 3 sacks and 5 quarterback hits over that same span. He's a top 15 safety in interceptions, forced incompletion rate, tackles for loss or no game, and defensive stops. I think we could get him for probably $10 million a year. I think we could get him for $10 million a year. So right there, you get Moehrig, who's a young safety, just like Javon Holland, $6 million a year, except he's a dog. 25 years old, $10 million a year. And then you go bring in a vet like Justin Simmons, who's still got plenty of left in the tank, who is great in pass coverage for 6, 7 million. Right there, that's 17 million. You fill both safety holes with the same price that it's going to cost you to bring in Javon Holland. You get both those safeties for the same price that it's going to cost Javon Holland, if not cheaper. You fill both safety spots cheaper than just bringing back Javon Holland. In the comments, what do you think? Would you like to see Trayvon Moehrig and Justin Simmons as safety, or would you like to bring Javon Holland back at the same price? And maybe you don't know who Trayvon Moehrig is. Check him out. He's a young, good player. He's got heart. He's a willing tackler. He's got just as many picks as Holland. I'm telling you, Holland has more upside than the Raiders safety. Holland's regressed. Holland just keeps regressing. What are we basing Holland's potential off of? He keeps regressing. Elijah Campbell, I don't mind seeing him more into a starting role. Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. The other people you might know, Jeremy Chin. We get him in here fairly cheap. I'm trying to see. Yeah, Justin Blackmon, the safety from the Colts. You get him cheap. Or, if the top 2 offensive linemen are off the board, I wouldn't mind seeing Malachi Starks. You get Malachi Starks from Georgia, who's an absolute animal, and you bring in Justin Simmons. Man, oh man, what a combo that would be. Lofi, you might not know who Moehrig is. Do you know who Malachi Starks is? Has anybody seen Malachi Starks tape? Look up Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia. The kid runs a 4.38. Super fast, super great ball skills. If you get him and Justin Simmons at the safety position, how much of an upgrade would that be? Bonnie, you know who Starks is? How much of an upgrade would that be over Javon Holland and Jordan Poyer? The 2 of them back there. Tell me that wouldn't make our defense leaps and bounds better. Malachi Starks he's got the speed to cover top end corners. He's got the ball skills to cover corners. He's absolutely fantastic. And he's a great tackler. I would love to see that combo. I would love to see it. We don't have to go offensive line with our first pick. If Malachi Starks is there, I'm not mad if we take Malachi Starks. But round 2 and round 3, you absolutely go offensive line after that. McKinley, safety with Giants, is a free agent. Yep, he is very good. Could be a starter year 1 for sure. Absolutely. He walks in the door of the starter. Without a shadow of a doubt, he's a starter. McKinley wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't mind McKinley. How much is McKinley going to cost, though? How much is McKinley looking to get? How much is McKinley looking to get? Safety have trouble going first round. They are cheap in free agency these days. I mean, are they? They're not that cheap. Javon Holland wants $20 million a year. And this kid, Malachi Starks, he is leaps and bounds better than Javon Holland. Leaps and bounds. Check him out, Lofi. I'm telling you, check him out. The kid is a beast. There is another safety that I've seen mocked to us a couple times in the second round. Where's my other notebook? Let me see if I can find his name. Top safeties in the NFL draft. This other safety, he's a physical freak too, and he's gonna be available a little bit lower in the draft. Nick Amaworry. He's the safety for South Carolina. He's a little bit more of a thumper, but he's got great speed too. He's got great speed. We could probably get him in the second round. Nick Amaworry. He's 6'3", 227 pounds, and runs a 4.3. I think he runs almost as fast as Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks 6'1", 205 pounds. So Nick Amaworry, he's a beast too. He's an absolute beast. So I wouldn't be mad if we took him in the second. He got 7.8 with Giants and Packers. Who's Warren? Warren's a rookie. Warren's in the draft. Normally, I want to take a safety first round either, but Starks would be worth it. He won't make it the day 2. Hell no, he ain't making it day 2. Oh, top tight end. Man, we need to. If we want to compete next year, we got to fill the holes that are. Like, we have a good tight end right now. Shoot, you wanna go grab a tight end? Go call Atlanta and see what Kyler Pitts is. What we can get Kyler Pitts for. Kyle, what do you think Kyle Pitts could do in this? He's a freak of nature physically. Atlanta just doesn't use him right. Imagine if he came over here and was used like Jonnu was used last year. Man, oh man. Kyler Pitts would be phenomenal. Hunter Smith, 35-year-old safety from the Vikings. I heard Hunter Smith is retiring. Jeremy Chin, he's underwhelming to me. Like I said, I'd rather have Simmons and I mean, we we're going to spend money on some players. So if we go high on one offensive lineman and one safety, I'd be cool with that. And then you get bargain bin players other than that. If we draft a tight end before round 3, I'm pulling my hair out. Yeah, anything but safety and offensive line. The only other position I'd be cool with in the top 3 rounds is defensive tackle. That's the only other position I'd be cool with in the first 3 rounds is defensive tackle. Tua can't beat a 2 safety high. Gonna need a real tight end for the run pass game. That it's hard to keep 2 safety high when you have a running game though. So if we improve our running game, them safeties are gonna have to creep down and help out. I had Kyler Pitts on my fantasy. Dude is a bust. Kirk couldn't get him the ball. Yeah, Raphael, I had him on my fantasy team too, and he definitely was a bust on fantasy. But that don't take away from his physical talents. That don't take away if you got him into a system and with a quarterback and a coach that knew how to use them, that he couldn't be a beast. They just didn't use him correctly. They just didn't use him at all, basically. But yeah, I would go with either Malachi Starks and Justin Simmons, or Moehrig and Justin Simmons at the safety position in free agency. I like both of them. I like both those options. And then let's turn our attention to guard. Like I said, Chris Grier is going to get us plenty of room to work with. Let's move the guard. Number 1 guard and the number 1 target, I think Chris Grier is going to have his eyes on, is Trey Smith, Kansas City left guard. We need a lot of help to run. They played 2 safety and stopped the run last year. Laugh out loud. Yeah, because we had 0 offensive line. We had Eichenberg and Robert Jones blocking, and God knows who when Austin Jackson went out. We were terrible in the run game. We had no blocking. If you give us a blocker, some blocking, that running game is going to open back up. I think we go after Kansas City's left guard, Trey Smith. Trey Smith gave up 0 sacks. He's fantastic in the run. He's an absolute beast, but he's going to cost us an arm and a leg. We're talking $20 million a year, but that's going to be the flashy move that Chris Grier makes, I believe. I believe that's the flashy move that Chris Grier makes. Number 75, Forrest spent more time on the ground than actually blocking. Yeah, he was horrible. Absolutely horrible. If you bring in Trey Smith to this offensive line, that's going to be huge. I went over some people that we could draft from the Senior Bowl yesterday. Yeah, you add one of those in the draft and bring in another free agent. You had mentioned Will Fries. Will Fries is another name. He's coming off injury last year, but he's made tremendous strides over the duration of his rookie year, or his rookie contract. I think he could really grow. He fractured his tibia in week 5 last year against the Jags. He underwent immediate surgery, so he should be healthy. But he had earned a 86.8 PFF grade on 268 snaps. So he was a very good player. Will Fries was a very good player. You might be able to get him on a discount just because he's coming off the injury. So Will Fries, look out for Will Fries if we can't get Trey Smith, because there's going to be multiple people going after Trey Smith. Another guard I can see us going after, Mekhi Becton, Philadelphia Eagles. This is a guy that the New York Jets had drafted. What's up, Timothy Washington? Fins up. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Becton They moved him over the guard when he got the Philly, and he's been phenomenal. Uh, he's he could be great. He's a huge guy. We could get him probably fairly cheap. I'd love to see him uh be brought over. Brandon Cherniff from the Jaguars. He's a guy that we could probably get decently cheap. Um, he's missed a handful of games each of the last seasons. Uh, he bounced back last year in a major way by starting every game. Um, he was a top 5 pick. He's not quite an all pro anymore, but still a very, very capable starter. And he's a great pass protector. And then another one I wouldn't mind seeing is Zach Martin. Now Zach Martin's 34 years old for the Dallas Cowboys. He's been absolutely great. One of the great offensive linemen. He's had a absolute Hall of Fame career. He dominated from 2014 to 21. He dominated. I'm saying straight up dominated. But he's still more than capable of being a great offensive lineman in this league. Such an upgrade over what we got now. And he's got, because of his age, we can get him at an affordable contract. We can get him at an affordable contract. We really can. So, I mean, if Chris Grier gets us some cap space, which he's gonna, we can make some moves and we can make huge, major improvements to this team. You said Aaron Banks to get the guard from San Francisco. I mean, he's a huge guy, 6'5", 325 pounds. Coming off injury. I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I mean, if I had my choice, I'm bringing in Zach Martin. I'm bringing in Zach Martin and probably Becton. I think Becton can. And Becton, yeah, he was a failure at left tackle for the New York Jets. But that doesn't mean you can't punch him out there to play in an emergency. So I like the versatility. Zach Martin, just a great player. I say you go and you sign 2 or 3 of them. You go and you sign 2 of the top 10 guards, and maybe that costs you $20 million between them. $10 million, $12 million for one contract, $8 million a year for another. That fixes your guard positions. You go into the draft. You draft 2 of the top guards. Now you got great depth at the guard position. You got great depth on the offensive line. You bring in the safeties that I was talking about. And we can do all this for $40 million. $40 million worth of contracts. This team can make the improvements it needs to make to be successful next year. Like, mark my words, if we can bring in those players, if we were to bring in those players I just spoke about, this team would be leaps and bounds better. We'd be looking at 11, 12 wins, a chance at a division title, a chance at multiple playoff wins. But again, it all relies on Tua Tagovailoa staying healthy. It all relies on Tua Tagovailoa staying healthy. But if Tua can stay healthy, this team has the capability of winning in a playoff game. This team has the potential to get lucky and find itself in the AFC Championship game. And if you can get to the AFC Championship game, man, anything can happen. Anything can happen. So our good vets are going to cost a premium now that we are not considered a contender. Listen, this team's not that far away from being a contender. We missed the playoffs by one game. And y'all are in a state. Florida is a state with no state income tax. That helps. It really does. The weather helps. The weather helps. So I mean, they can get people down there, man. They can lure people down there. We can be back. We can be back. We had a hiccup last year. We can be back. Dolphins no contender, just retirement team. No, the Dolphins can be a contender. They can be a contender for the division. They can be a contender for playoff wins. This team's just not built for longevity. This team's not built for longevity. This team that we're putting together right now, next year we're going to be in hella trouble. But this year is just about saving the jobs of Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier. That's all they're concerned with. I wish our O-line could be Paul, Tyler Booker, Aaron Brewer, Ernest Green, and AJ with Ozzie, Claywell, Micaiah back there, Darian Smith on backups. Yeah, I mean, that'd be a nice offensive line, Timothy. That'd be a nice offensive line. I'd be happy with that. We're gonna be in trouble. We're gonna be in trouble long term. This team is not made for long term success. This team can be successful next year, but after that, we're in trouble because the cap is catching up with us. All the moves that Chris Grier does to save his job this year, they're going to start catching up with us, and this team's going to be we're going to be in trouble because we got nothing but aging, expensive players. So bad times are on the horizon. But we have faith. We can have faith. We have the ability to have one more good season. We have the ability to have one great season. We can have a great season this year. But there's no mistake about it. Bad times are coming. With the moves that Chris Grier makes this year, bad times are coming. So prepare yourself. Live in the moment. Live with the fact that hopefully we can put a contender together this year because Chris Grier is going to do everything in his power to put a winning team on the field. And then after that, we're cooked. If we can't figure out the run, we're cooked. Yeah, I really think that if we bring in the free agents we were just talking about, we can be really successful. We can be really successful. And then maybe you go and you bring in a Kareem Hunt for short yardage. Nick Chubb's a free agent. I mean, Nick Chubb's probably not going to get a shit ton of money because of the injury, and he came back last year, and he, I think Nick Chubb could do wonders for us. Do we go that high on him? I don't know. He's listed 4th ranked in running backs in free agency this year. No state income tax is one of the main reasons players go there to just collect. You're absolutely right about that, True Blazer. You're absolutely right. We lose Hill now. The double team isn't needed, and they get another defender free. We cooked. Mostert's age as well. Yeah, Mostert, I think Mostert's probably gone. They're going to cut Mostert. That saves them $3 million. They're going to cut Smythe. That saves them $3 million. But the free agent running backs this year: J.K. Dobbins, Jordan Mason, Najee Harris, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Rico Dodal, Jalen Warren, Javonte Williams, Kenneth Gainwell, Kareem Hunt, Samaje Perine. Keenan Allen's a free agent at the receiver. I wouldn't mind seeing Keenan Allen brought in. A sure-handed, bigger bodied receiver. But yeah, Tampa fell as a spot right now in Florida. Yeah, they're trying to keep Chris Godwin. I mean, they need to bring Chris Godwin back or another receiver because they just weren't the same after he went down. And Chris Godwin wants 25 plus million a year. So they don't got a lot of cap space neither. But yeah, I mean, if we can fix this offensive line, we add in a big body running back to go along with with Achane. Listen, we'll have a top 10 offense. We get our pass rush back. Anthony Weaver's coming back. We go and we hit the safeties up in free agency. Man, this team can be super good. We can be really good as long as Tua stays healthy. You're right about that, Lofi. I mean, if he can't stay on the field, we're in trouble regardless. No matter who you bring in up as a backup, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. But yeah, that's some of the guards. That's some of the safeties we can bring in. Special shout out. I would like to see maybe a linebacker like Nick Bolton. He's a dog. Tyreek said it best. We need some dogs on this team. Nick Bolton, linebacker's not a really area of need. Nick Bolton's going to get a big contract, but he's a good blitzer. He's a good tackler. He's a thumper. He's a dog. He's kind of like one of those wish list people. If I can't see them, they are not open per to a man. Raphael, I think you to a hater. It's all right though. You can have your opinions. Like I said, I'm not in love with the guy. I'm not in love with him, but man, I would love to have. Look how lucky the Commanders got. I'm so jealous. Jane Daniels, so jealous. Missed that NFL quarterback position, has evolved, and we are playing 90s pocket passer football. Yeah. I would bring Isaiah Wynn back. I would, as a backup, just as a backup. He can play multiple, he can play 4 positions on the line. Market is the market. You stop it, Raphael. He drove me nuts when he said that shit. Since when? You know, I made one of my very first videos. It's on here somewhere. One of my very first videos. I said, when did this market is the market? When did that become a thing? Just because you're the next quarterback or player that get paid at your position doesn't automatically mean you're the next highest paid player. And if you try to come into negotiations with me like that, and I was a team owner, I'd say, are you better than Patrick Mahomes? Are you better than Josh Allen? Are you better than Lamar Jackson? Are you better than this guy? Are you better than this guy? Are you better than this guy? And once you got to a point that it was a discussion whether you were better than him or not, that's where we start your pay rate at. So once we get down to the Dak Prescotts and that area, well, I might be as good as Dak. All right, how much does Dak? You know what I mean? Obviously, Dak is overpaid also. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily work here, but you know what I'm saying. I think Spencer Rattler is taking over with the Saints. Take a flyer on Derek Carr. I don't think Spencer Rattler is going to be the quarterback of the Saints, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think Derek Carr necessarily is neither. Spencer Rattler only had one halfway decent game last year. Yeah, I would absolutely take Derek Carr. Absolutely. I think someone, and don't shoot me in the head on this one, and don't kill me or criticize me too much. I think Daniel Jones would be a nice player here. Daniel Jones can get out the pocket. He can move around. He's accurate on short throws. I agree, but I can't blame him for getting his pot of gold. He outsmarted Greer. He did. He definitely did that. All because he wasn't fully practicing. That was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. Again, make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. I appreciate you all. Thank you for stopping in, spending time with me. I enjoy this. It's always a good time. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Raphael. Thank you. Thank you to all the new people that have stopped in. I appreciate you all. I watched Derek Carr and Devontae Adams at Fresno State years ago. Yeah, I mean, what a combo that was, huh? What a combo that was. Again, if you're watching this on the Game Changers Network, please pop over on the Finn Posse and check it out and subscribe over there. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Listen, I'm not one of these big network people or big YouTube guys where I got a million people. If I got 10 people in here, I need all 10 of y'all to hit it. Please, please. It takes 2 seconds. Please. I hope when I get off here in a second, I see 10 likes. Please. Don't let me down. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to do huge giveaways. Shoot. If you know people and you can point them in the right direction, maybe when we get to 600, I'll do a giveaway. When we get to 700, I'll do a giveaway. Maybe an autographed Dan Marino football, maybe some money. You know what I mean? So, I'll see you Monday. Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure you check out the Blitz tonight, 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern time. Me and my cousin go over NFL stuff. We have a good time, joke around. So stop in Monday and Friday. It was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but right now we're only gonna do Monday and Friday because it's a little bit slower in the off season. So Monday and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Game Changers. Come check out the Blitz with me and my cousin Mike. And I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for stopping in. Make sure you hit that like button for me, please. Please. And until next time, fins up, all the way up. What? Peace.